Elisa Lam was a Canadian student at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. She was born on April 30th, 1991 and disappeared on January 31st, 2013, aged 21 in Los Angeles, California. Lam traveled alone to California. On January 26th, she arrived in LA. 2 days went by and she checked in the Cecil Hotel. Lam shared a room on the hotel's 5th floor. Her roommates complained about her odd behavior and was later moved to a room of her own. The Cecil Hotel has a reputation for violence and suicide. In 1931, the first documented suicide was reported. Residents began calling the Cecil the Suicide, as throughout the 1940s and 50s, more suicides occurred. The Cecil Hotel history included violence and disturbing happenings. Serial killers resided there, killers like Richard Ramirez and Jack the Vienna Strangler. While traveling, Lam contacted her parents daily. On January 31st, 2013, the day she was supposedly going to check out of the hotel and leave for Santa Cruz, her parents didn't hear from her. They called Los Angeles Police Department immediately and flew to LA to help with the search. Some hotel staff and the manager of a bookstore, Katie Orphan, were the last people to see Elisa Lam alive. Katie said she was outgoing, very lively, very friendly. She was talking about a book she was getting, whether or not it would be heavy for her to carry around. The hotel was searched. Police searched Lam's room and had dogs go through the building, rooftops too, but the dogs failed in detecting her scent. Police didn't search every room. They said they didn't have a probable cause. A week after Lam's disappearance, the Los Angeles Police Department posted a missing person poster with her image throughout the neighborhood and online. They needed help, so they decided to use the public's attention. 2 weeks have gone by with no sign of Lam. On February the 15th, the Los Angeles Police Department checked CCTVs and released a video of her. The footage was taken from one of the hotel's elevators, and it was filmed on February the 1st, a day after Lam was reported missing. In the elevator video, you could see Lam's strange behavior. It seemed as if she was communicating with something, perhaps an entity. The camera offered not just a view of the interior, but the hallway as well. The timestamp was mysterious, and at points you could see Lam's mouth pixelized. She appears to select several buttons, then airily steps back to the corner. She waited for the door to close. She stuck her head out carefully and got back in quickly and squeezed herself in one of the corners. Then she got out of the elevator. She looked tensed and worried. Lam looked as if she saw something. She got back in the elevator but stepped outside again, and for a while she wasn't visible in the camera, but you could see her arm moving weirdly. As she got back in the elevator, she pressed several buttons before she got back out and started signaling with her hands in a strange manner. She rubbed her forearms together and then waved her hands out with outstretched fingers while bowing forward and gently rocking. That pose doesn't look normal at all. Eventually, she left, and the door finally closed. A lot of viewers, including me, found the video unsettling to watch. The video is sketchy, and the timestamp was messed up, and at points, the footage looks tampered. After the Los Angeles Police Department released footage, several theories evolved explaining her action. The one which many believed was that Lam was trying to escape from someone. Lam looked frightened. If that theory is true, the camera didn't pick up anyone, which leads us to two theories. One which viewers argued that the video had been tampered before being made public. The second theory, maybe it wasn't someone chasing her. Maybe it was something, perhaps an entity. That could explain the obscured timestamp and the door failing to close. Other theories include that she might have been under the influence of drugs, but none were detected in her body. Some say that she was having a psychotic episode. As I was doing my research and I came upon the elevator video and saw her pressing multiple buttons, it reminded me of the elevator game. Basically, it's meant to take you to another dimension, an alternate world. The requirements for the game is the building should at least have 10 floors, 1 player, and an elevator, obviously. Lam pressed several buttons at one point. Perhaps she followed all the instructions, and it got her to another world. Maybe she tried leaving but couldn't. Maybe she messed up the order. This all will remain a mystery. During the search, guests at the hotel complained about low water pressure. Some claimed their water had a color to it and that it had an unusual taste. On the morning of February 19th, Lam's body was found in one of the tanks. Tanks that provided water to guest rooms, a kitchen, and a coffee shop. The tank was drained and cut open since its maintenance hatch was too small to remove Lam's body. If it was a murder, it would have been impossible for the killer to put her there, because it was hard to get her out. But suppose the killer theory was right. The tanks would require a ladder. On 21st of February, the Los Angeles Coroner's Office issued a finding of accidental drowning with bipolar disorder as a significant factor. The full report was released in June. It stated that Lam's body was found naked. Her clothing she was wearing in the elevator video were floating on the water. They were coated with sand-like particulate, which makes me think if my theory was true, the dimension she entered had something to do with the sand particles. Lamb's body was moderately decomposed and bloated. It was kind of greenish with some clear marbling on the abdomen and clear skin separation. There wasn't any signs of physical trauma, assault, or suicide. Her toxicology test results came in. It was incomplete because not enough blood was preserved. It showed consistent traces of her prescribed medications found among her belongings, in addition to non-prescribed drugs such as Sinotib and ibuprofen, and a very small quantity of alcohol was present, but no other recreational drugs. The investigation had determined how Lam died, but didn't offer an explanation as to how she got in the tank in the first place. Doors and stairs that access the hotel roof are locked, and any attempt to force them would trigger an alarm. However, the hotel's fire escape could have allowed her to bypass the security measures. Apart from the question of how she got onto the roof, how did she manage to get in the tanks? The tanks were 4x8-foot cylinders propped on concrete blocks. They are protected by heavy lids and they needed a ladder. The circumstances of Lam's death have been compared to plot elements in the 2005 horror film Dark Water. In that film, a mother and a daughter move into a rundown apartment building, dysfunctional elevator, and discolored water gushing from the building's tap. Eventually, it led them to the building's rooftop water tank, where they discovered the body of a girl who had been reported missing from the building a year earlier.